We're going to call to order the Avon Town Council meeting for February 27th. Please stand and join me with the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Julie, would you take roll call, please?
Robert Pope.
Present.
Bill Holland.
Present.
Jason Puckett.
Present.
Greg Zuzin. Don Loudon.
Present. Okay, next is the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? And if not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, including the check register for February 27th, 2025, the February 13th, 2025 work session memoranda, and the approval of minutes for February 13th, 2025 as presented.
Do we have a first? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Julie, take roll call, please.
Don Loudon.
4.
Robert Pope.
4.
Jason Puckett.
4.
Bill Holland.
4.
Next is the public comment section. The public may come forward and discuss items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing or on a specific matter within the council's jurisdiction. No one coming forward. We'll go ahead and close that session of public comment and move on to council comment and liaison reports. Robert, you want to start us off?
Nothing for me tonight.
Jason?
Nothing for me either.
Bill?
I think Ryan put everything that I was going to say in his report, so I have nothing.
That's good. This past week, we had the comp plan public meeting, the committee that's been meeting, trying to do our future land use maps and comp plan changes. Public meeting. It was somewhat well attended. It happened the other night from 6 to 7. And then also Sean, Ryan, and a few other department heads met on the continuity of operations. It's more of like a FEMA, how do we operate the town if there is a natural disaster or some type of an emergency function. So we all met and discussed that a little bit more. That's it for me. Next is Resolution 2025-05, approving the closing of the purchase of real estate for the Civic Center. Is that going to be Dan or, okay.
Yes, you've approved the purchase of the Civic Center property and you've approved the bonds. And so you might be wondering why you have this in front of you, but this is because as we prepare for closing, the title insurance company is requiring some document which says that you have authorized your town manager to go to a closing and sign documents on your behalf. And that's all this really is. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I move we adopt resolution 2025-05 approving closing of purchase of real estate for Civic Center as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Julie, roll call, please.
Robert Pope.
4.
Bill Holland.
4.
Jason Puckett.
4.
Don Loudon.
4. Next is Resolution 2025-06, declaring police vehicles as surplus property. Dave?
Good evening, Dave Margison, Deputy Chief at the Police Department. I don't know how detailed you would like for me to get. I'll keep it brief, but if you want anything answered, I'll be happy to expand. We are asking the council to declare 4 vehicles as surplus property so that we can send them to auction. We have an aging pool car fleet. These 4 vehicles are in need of extensive mechanical repairs, close to 3 of them close to 10,000 and 1 of them close to 7,000. The vehicles are very high mileage and it doesn't make fiscal responsibility to spend that kind of money on these. So we're looking to offload them.
Okay. Any discussion or questions for Deputy Chief Margison?
Do you already have vehicles ready to replace these, or are these some of the ones that we've had on order? No, we don't have any outstanding orders.
We do. We have currently 5 Tahoes, I believe, ordered, and we heard this week they are scheduled to be here the end of July, which is much better than October like it was last year.
I assume those 5 are planned to replace these, or is this just sort of part of the flow of vehicles going in and out?
Part of the flow of vehicles going in and out. These are really bad shape. We just got rid of one that you guys declared as surplus this week. And it did not start or pull itself, and it still got $1,400 at the auction. So
That's all. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-06, declaring police vehicles as surplus property as presented.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Thank you. Julie, would you take roll call, please? Thanks, Dave.
Don Loudon,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Bill Holland,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Thank you. Okay, next is the final reading of ordinance 2025 well, this can't be right because we just did, this is ordinance 2025-06 bond ordinance, which is the economic development bond for Avon Landing. And I believe Dan, you'll speak to that.
Yes, this is the final action to approve the Avon Landing bond issuance. As you know, your preliminary approvals, the EDC intends to issue bonds not to exceed $1.9 million to assist with this project. The Economic Development Commission has made findings that this bond is in the best interest of the citizens of the town, and that the bond should be used, funded, paid for by TIF revenues, and that security for the bonds should be done by way of a trust indenture, which has already been approved by you, that the financing agreements and the bond purchase agreements are in the trust indenture would all be approved, and that your officers would be authorized to sign any all documents to issue the bonds. This is the final action and the second reading of this ordinance, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for council? If not, would someone like to make a motion?
I move we adopt ordinance 2025-06, bond ordinance, economic development bonds for Avon Landing as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie. Would you take roll call, please?
Bill Holland,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Robert Pope,
4.
Don Loudon.
4. Moving along, final reading for ordinance 2025-07, pledging general fund revenues to the bonds. Is that you again, Dan?
So this is a final action that you'll take on the Civic Center bonds, or the Eastern Gray bonds as we call them. And this is not exactly a bond ordinance, but it's a pledge of revenues. So the approval of this ordinance is your pledge of general revenues for the payment of the lease rental payments for the lease between the RDA and the RDC. And again, that lease situation is done so that you don't have to count that debt as part of your constitutional limit. The resolution states that you will use general revenues to make those payments, and that you won't encumber or limit or restrict your general revenues in any way that would interfere with the payment of the lease rental bonds. So this is obviously a resolution that is passed in order to satisfy the underwriter on the issuance of the bonds, so the purchasers of the bonds can rest assured that these lease rental payments will be made. And so you say that you have not taken any action that would restrict that, and you will not do so in the future as long as the lease term is there. These are very standard tax covenants we have on all lease rental bonds. And this is your final action on this bond and second reading on this ordinance.
Thank you. Any questions about pledging the general revenues for bonds? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I move we adopt ordinance 2025-07, pledging general revenues to bonds as presented.
I'll second.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Roll call, please.
Don Loudon,
4.
Bill Holland,
4.
Jason Puckett,
4.
Robert Pope.
4.
Moving on to legal counsel report.
I will just mention that your last annexation became effective today, and we worked on that a little bit today to get the appropriate documents to the auditor. So that's a big day for us. We can wrap one of those up. Your staff did a great job. And so I'd report that to you. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Okay, the second of 2 public hearings, if you'd like to come forward and speak. Please state your name and your address. Again, no one coming forward, so we'll close that. Council comments?
So I just have a question for Ryan. And I don't know if anybody else read it, but we all got an email from Whispering Pines resident. Have you seen that? Are you aware of it?
I have not, no.
Okay. Do you mind if I just give it to you and then you can?
Sure, that'd be fine, absolutely.
What you need. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ryan, council calendar.
Your guys' next meeting is March 13th at 7 PM. We do also have a work session at 5:30 PM. So we'll see you guys March 13th.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.